Yeah, Garrick, the last probably 3 games, Kobe Peso has been, kind of getting more involved, seeing more opportunities, things like that. What do you think is working well for him to, kind of get involved and, get in the offense the way that he has been?
Well, he's a very consistent guy. His personality, the way he approaches the game, the way he practices on the practice field. And I think that consistency has paid off for him, and he's been in position to make some plays for us. But it's really good to have him out there making plays because he's the oldest player, and he's really one of the only veterans out there. So he's really been a good example on just how to stick with it, because early in the season he wasn't playing. He kept grinding, and his practice sessions and the way he goes about his business has shown up.
You talked about, obviously, him being the oldest guy in that room, setting an example. In what ways in practice have you kind of seen him kind of use that veteran leadership, and how have you seen him, I guess, take advantage of the experience?
Yeah, well, he doesn't make many mistakes. And, what you're looking for is just a consistent way of going about playing football. And you can put them together snap after snap after snap. And if you were to make a mistake, you correct the mistake, and you go back and you do it right. And I think he's been a good example of, just being consistent and being competitive. He really likes this place, loves this place. Football's important to him. And he's been a really good example for our guys.
Hey, can you talk a little bit about Madrid? I know he's someone that we saw a lot over the last couple of weeks, but not as much so early on in the year, just sort of the emergence of him and how he got to this point.
Yeah, Madrid is a really good example of just the grind and just development. We do what we call basics, which is our young guys practice. We do it after practice every day. And then on Sunday nights, they get to play Sunday night football is what we call it. And Madrid kept developing, kept growing. We knew he was a good player when he first got here, but we just had to develop and keep going. And he made a bunch of plays in those basic sessions and just stuck with it. And, now he's in position to help us win.
When he first got here, you said you knew he was a good player. What were some of the things that you saw out of him at first?
He can really run, and he can just naturally can catch the football. It's just natural for him.
Jeremiah?
Hey Coach, good to see you again. Over the last 3 games, going back to California, can you just talk about what you've seen out of the wide receiving corps as a whole? And with only 4 games left in the season, only 3 more wins to make you bowl eligible, what do you need to see out of the wide receiving corps in order to get to that point and possibly get 3 more wins?
Yeah, well, we got a long way to go. We got to keep getting better and keep growing, but they've been more consistent. With how they're going to compete, how they're going to concentrate and focus and execute. And it's been like that on the practice field. So that's shown up in the games for the most part. Still got a lot of, growth and development to do. But that's the reason they've had some success lately.
Right.
Coach, it seems like every week there's a new face that sort of emerges with a big game in that wide receiver unit. How do you go about coaching that and making sure that everybody in that entire unit is ready for potential production every single week?
Well, yeah, I think that it's important for coaches to coach everyone in the room, even guys that are not going to play in the game. You have to push those guys to know what's going on, know how to do things, know the techniques and fundamentals. And that way, the whole group feels like they're developing. You're not just coaching the guys that are going to play and being demanding on the guys that are going to play. And my philosophy is when you do that with everyone in the room, it shows the guys who are going to play that this is important for everyone. So that's my philosophy.
Brian?
Yeah, Coach, a lot of these questions are similar, but Madrid and Clower and Easter and Leacock have all kind of popped here in the last couple of weeks, at least getting catches. You talked about those basic practices, the Sunday night games. Is this different than other places you've been with guys being able to move up from, I don't even think dressing, to now all of a sudden being a starter and catching 8 balls?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've obviously been doing this a long time now. This is different than any other place I've been. We do the basic practices every day. We have a Sunday night football. We have the sound from Sunday night football. And we not only do it, have the practices, the coaches have to go back and we watch that film, and we have to, write the comments on that film on everyone's, what they're doing fundamentally. And then those kids that play in the basic practices or the Sunday night practices have a special meeting with coach, and he sits in with those kids and he goes through those practices with them. And I've never been a part of that. And it's the theory of continue to develop them. And he takes time out of his day to develop and have an hour-long meeting with the players who are not going to play in the game. And he's coaching, the defensive front, the receivers, the quarterbacks. And so we feel like everyone in the program is developing.
Are coaches involved in that Sunday night game? Who's calling the plays for all that stuff?
We have a couple of coaches that call it, but the meeting that Bill has with the players, it's just Bill, our graduate assistants, and the basic young players, and they actually take time and go through it, which I've never seen before. But that's why you see Chenard and Madrid on the field now, because of some of those meetings.
And one more, I hate to monopolize it, but you've been at a lot of places. Does that keep the guys that are playing maybe more engaged? You just talked about Madrid and Chenard.
It definitely keeps them more engaged. It gets them to understand that we're watching everything they do. Not only the coaches are watching it, the head coach is watching it. So when we have those Tuesday or Wednesday night sessions with those kids, it's important to them because they're gonna have to walk in a meeting with Bill and he's gonna go through every play. So that's what keeps them grinding, I think, and keeps them all developing.
Thank you.
Grant?
Hey, Coach. Not only is you have Chenard and Madrid and all these guys stepping up, but also Jordan is also a sophomore as well. What excites you about these just young group of receivers moving forward? Because I know Bill and Lombardi, they talk a lot about this being a rebuild, but to have a bunch of really good young receivers, that also helps a lot in the process.
Yeah, you said Jordan was a sophomore. Sometimes you forget about that because of Jordan's personality. He'll make you think he's a 10-year NFL veteran, is the way that he carries himself. But Jordan is a young kid also. But he's just got this personality, this competitive spirit that makes you feel like he's older, But he's doing a good job. He sets the tone on, him and Kobe set the tone on how we're gonna go about our business every day. Jordan asks the most questions in the meetings. Jordan can get things organized on the field if things are not organized. So it's really good to have him with us.
Tim?
Coach, could you take us a little deeper into this Sunday night football thing, like what it looks like? Do you have referees? Do the regular players attend that? Do all the coaches go? Like what's it?
Oh, no, our team.
The Sunday night theme song. Like what is it?
Well, we're all out there. Everyone's out there, and everybody's into it. Our players that played in the game the day before, they're into it. It's fun for them. They really cheer hard for their teammates that are out there. The young kids want to do well. One, because they want to put on film that they are getting better and developing, but the older guys are out there watching, and they're all into it. Everybody's out there. The coaches are all out there. It's a pretty cool deal. For us, but for the players that are practicing in those, it's an opportunity to put on video that you are developing because, like I said, Coach Belichick's going to go out of his way and he's going to find an hour during the week, at the end of the week, to go in with all those guys and he's going to coach every one of those guys in that meeting. That's what makes that so important.
Is it a controlled scrimmage? Is it like a game situation?
They're live practices. They're live practices. We have drives. And it's live. He wants to see them play.
Noah?
Real quick on that, what time are those usually at what time roughly, and then how long do they usually last?
They're just at the end of our Sunday evening sessions. We get so much time to spend with the kids on Sundays after the game, and we just, it's just the end of those sessions.
And I know too, you mentioned Jordan Shipp as a guy that is much older than I guess that he theoretically is. With Madrid, has there been sort of one of the receivers in that room that has really taken them under their wing to sort of walk him through everything and sort of be with him directly through the development that he's seen?
Yeah, the reason I smile is because they little brother Madrid a lot. And Chenard, those guys. Kennedy's a young guy too, but now that Madrid's out there, they treat him like he's the little brother for sure.
What does that mean, though, I guess from your perspective, to Madrid to be treated, not treated in a bad way, but treated like that with some guys that he looks up to?
They just push him around, make sure he's ready to play, make sure he's tough enough to play. They tell him, you better not mess this up, you better be ready to go, you better motion to the right spots. And he's good about it. They're just kidding.
Yeah.
But, he is the little brother.
Shelby?
Yeah, just kind of want to know just the player development, those Sunday night football sessions. Sounds like a lot of opportunities with that in basic periods for guys to earn their time on the fields. Obviously, you guys have a practice of certain players not dressing out for game day, something that's drawn like a little bit of criticism. How much of that is maybe like a week by week proposition? How much input do you as an assistant coach on the staff have, and who is getting to put that jersey on actually on Saturdays?
We have meetings with our kids. They all know what's going on. I think that became something that it really wasn't. Our kids, no one knew that Bill was meeting with them. And they felt the development that was going on, and they knew that if I keep grinding, I could end up playing this year. And you know what I mean? No one really knew that what was going on the inside of the program, but the kids did know. So it's not an issue for our guys. They're fine. They know they're developing, and they're getting better, and ultimately they're going to be out there helping us win.
Yeah, and it sounds like maybe, and again, like, want to make sure I'm characterizing this correctly, like those, basic periods in Sunday night football, could that be a chance for guys to then, earn wearing the jersey on a Saturday?
That's what it's for. And at some points they'll all be out there, in their jersey. But they get extra workouts. They spend extra time with Moses. They get a lot more extra training, because they're not going to play. So there's a benefit to it when you're not going to play in the game. There's a benefit to being one of the inactive guys because you get more training, more film sessions. There's other things that go along with it.
Adam?
Garrick, I know you were saying earlier, maybe pointing to better consistency is part of some of the progress that you all have made as an offense, and not to make excuses for you guys, but this is an entirely new thing, new players, new coaches. Do you think it simply took some time and some trial and error earlier in the season to maybe get to the point where you are now, to where you're having better success? Was this just going to take some time as opposed to maybe rocketing out of the gate? You know what I'm saying?
I think that our guys, that are in the building, our coaches, our staff, our players, we all understood that we just were not playing well enough to win a real football game against a good team. That the consistency of all three phases of the game and all the positions playing really good football at the same time, it just wasn't happening. And we knew it, and we would go in and he would point it out, and so we all knew that we're not playing well enough or coaching well enough. Yeah. And our kids stuck together. I think that, when you have so many new players with a spring transfer portal, that it's hard sometimes for the kids to really get to know each other, really get to trust each other. And I think the stretch where we went through when it was said that our locker room was divided and all of that, I think that brought our kids together because they knew that we're not divided. And I think they brought our kids together. They started to trust each other more, started to get to know each other more, do a lot more communicating off the field. And I think that's why our practice sessions have been giving us an opportunity to have a chance to win.
And just on Kobe, I know that this is your first year here. He's been through a lot in his past, but to maybe watch the way his season has gone, have you maybe gained some respect for him, just maybe the professional way he's gone about, was not playing at the start of the year, and here he is showing up all the time now, making huge plays for you guys. Was there maybe a level of maturity there where he could set an example for some other people?
Yeah, well, in spring ball, Kobe was injured. He was coming back off of an injury. And we were told, Moses, gives the injury report, and he told us that Kobe could potentially do a third of the practice so we can ease him back into it in the middle of spring. And once he got out there, it was hard to get him off the field. Even when he was just supposed to do a little bit, he wanted to do more and wanted to do more. And so that's when my respect for him, you know, showed up, that this kid really loves playing football. He'll play through injuries. He understands he's been here a long time. He's had some injuries, but he's not afraid to go back out there and wonder if I'm going to get injured again. He just kept going and wanted to do more in spring. So I've always had a lot of respect for Kobe, you know, as a football player, as a person.
Pat?
Hey, Coach. There's been a lot of receivers rotating in the mix, and some guys emerging late in the year, but then also some guys that we haven't seen play as much lately. Could you talk a little bit about just like the philosophy of how you guys are kind of divvying up the playing time, and where maybe guys like Culver and Leacock where they stand?
Yeah, they're doing a good job on the practice field. You mentioned Chris, you mentioned Leacock, Vari Green should be mentioned, Alex Taylor should be mentioned. These are all good young players. It's just that, you know, after evaluating the practices every day, right now Jordan and Kobe have separated themselves as guys that are gonna show up every day and they give us the best chance to win. It's not saying anything negative about the other kids, because they're doing a good job also. But as of right now, Jordan and Kobe are, they give us the best chance to win.
And how do you kind of come up with that third spot? Is it meritocracy?
Yeah, it's by personnel grouping. You know, it could be an extra tight end in the game. It could be an extra receiver in the game. It could be a different type of tight end in the game, but that's by personnel grouping.
We got time for two more. We're gonna go to. I saw two more hands. Let's go to Brian and then Jeremiah. We'll see how many we have.
I think we've talked a lot about the receivers. How much of their growth is tied to what Gio's been able to do over the last month or so, and getting comfortable with him getting comfortable with the offense as well?
Yeah, I think that's. I think it goes hand in hand. You know, the quarterback has to play good, but the people around him have to play good so that he can play good. So it all goes together. You know, you got to be in the right spots at the right time so you can get the ball out on time. You got to slide the protection when you're supposed to slide the protection. So, you know, that position is tough because, you know, it's all on your shoulders as the quarterback, but the other 10 guys got to give you a chance to play with them. So it goes together.
Shelby?
It's just, you know, like from your perspective, obviously, the team as a whole, the offense too, has, you know, taken a step forward since the beginning of the season. But like anything that you guys have changed, maybe in terms of scheme, planning, like play calling, that's maybe resulted in a change between now and then?
Yeah, no, we know our guys better. You know, so we know which guys should be doing certain things at the right times. We know our substitution patterns better based on, you know, our experience with these guys every day. And the credit should go to our players. They just stuck together and kept working and kept grinding, and we're searching for one more week where we can get a victory. That's it. You know, they're on the practice field on the Thursday practice today. We'll be working red zone, and we're going to try to master the red zone so it gives us a chance to win on Saturday.
Yeah, anything just from your, I guess, core that maybe you see could be improved in the red zone? I mean, you just hit on it, but that's obviously.
Well, yeah, the field shortens, so you got to be precise down there because there's not much space behind the defense. The defensive structure changes because they know they have the baseline back there to protect the back of the defense. And you have to make contested catches down there, and you have to run with your pads low and, you know what I mean, really block it. It changes because there's not much space in the red area or the little red.
And last one, either Jeremiah or Adam.
Go ahead, Jim.
Appreciate it. Obviously, it was the Cal game and the Virginia game. You guys had some kind of close fumbles, 1 yard line, things like that. I know Kobe kind of self-corrected one later in the year, but how do you, I guess, kind of strike the balance with those guys between getting the extra yardage and protecting the football, and how do you kind of address it after those plays happen?
Well, the way I addressed it was you're going to have a decision to make in split seconds in games. And you got to decide between, are you going to make this decision and protect the North Carolina Tar Heels, or are you going to think about yourself and reach the ball over the line and get it knocked over? So all the decisions that have to be made out there, and they're happening fast, that you got to make the decision and protect the North Carolina Tar Heels, which means protect the ball. That's how I addressed it.
So were the stadium steps involved in this?
No, it was against the rules nowadays. You can't
Oh,
get
is that
fired
right?
for stuff like that nowadays. Yeah, got to be a teacher now. My dad would have did
Right.
something different. Yeah.
All right, good stuff. Thanks so much, Coach.